Okay, on today's episode, we talk about the 4 states of mind and how that inner critic, the one that runs the show, takes over my brain in between my earlobes and tries to convince me that the entire world is ending at every moment's notice, or when I just heard a loud noise outside my office isn't always true, how to get out of it, and how to insert a wedge to get into a positive state of mind. So with all that, I'm going to take a sip of coffee and let's get into the episode. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and if you listen to this on the day that it dropped, then it's Monday, and it's another Monday Minute. And we're going to talk about how ease, or eased, is a state of mind. Now, I used to say easy was a state of mind, but I don't feel like it brought enough awareness to what I was talking about, and awareness is the key. You see, for me, when I look at my life, things that feel hard, things where I'm reactive, where I'm inundated, I feel pressure, I'm emotional, I feel like the world is ending, all comes from this feeling of this lack of control. And the feeling of the lack of control is not actually something I'm feeling, it's something I'm thinking. And what I'm thinking is all these scenarios over and over and over again that are playing worst case scenarios. Is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? And it's like I'm watching my brain and these thoughts dictate how I feel. And so when I say easy is a state of mind, it's bringing awareness to that thinking and becoming present in the current moment. And so when I say easy is a state of mind, I mean that it can be. And eased is a state of mind that comes from awareness and clarity. Clarity of what's really happening, of where we are, of what's around us, what we smell, what we see, what we feel. And it starts by just getting back into our bodies. And that might be a breath. It might be looking at your hand. It might be tapping your face. It might be hugging yourself. It could be anything that just gets you out of the reality, the programming, the virtual reality that's happening inside of our ears, convincing us that the world is ending and some saber-toothed tiger is coming to eat us to pieces, to hit that pause button. Scott Carney wrote this amazing book called The Wedge. And you guys know I'm a big fan of cold therapy and breath work. And the wedge does exactly that. The wedge helps us insert a pause button when everything feels out of control to become aware. And in order to have an eased state of mind, awareness is the secret. And so what we get to practice every day is we get to practice becoming aware. Now, once we become aware of where we are, what we're experiencing, what's actually in front of us, we have all the ingredients. Like we have an overview of the field, or at least the field that we need to see. And then in order to recreate that situation in a positive manner or to make momentum forward, we need to find a focus. We need to take a consistent action towards that focus. And then we need to celebrate every single win along the way. And I had this conversation the other day with one of my mastermind members about cash flow. And it's like cash flow, we got to work on cash flow, like of course. But cash flow is an outcome. It's an output of inputs in a process. So if you look at cash flow by itself, you're not going to be able to solve anything, but it feels real and it feels overwhelming sometimes. But if you take a step back and you're like, okay, what goes into the cash flow? Is it sales? Is it production? Is it shipping costs? Is it employee overhead? And what process does it go into? You see the ingredients, and then you can pick the ones that we need to focus on consistently while celebrating the wins to then change the output, which is cash flow. And so there's this amazing blog called Farnham Street, but they talk about the 4 states of mind, and we are always in the 4 states of mind. So we are either having an internal or an external dialogue. And internal is like we're talking to ourselves, we have the voice in that head, we're having that conversation with whoever it is that we're speaking to. And then external is we're focusing on what's happening around us. We're noticing, the sights, the sounds, the colors, the people. And in those stages of thinking, there's either helpful thinking or there's harmful thinking. And so if you think about it, helpful internal thinking is thinking, right? We're just thinking, we're pondering, we're noticing. External helpful thinking or state of mind, the internal helpful state of mind is thinking. The external helpful state of mind is being engaged, doing things aware of what we're doing, actively participating with our kids, having an active meeting, being, present and engaged, right? And then the state of mind that is internal and harmful is that inner critic, right? It's that inner critic where we're wrapped up in this whole motion of like, I'm not good enough, I'm not there, I'm not blah, blah, blah. And then the external harmful state of mind is the autopilot. Now, autopilot's not always bad, right? But it's always awareness that what state of mind we're in will give us a result. And so when I say states of mind are easy or having an easy state of mind, the first step is always coming from awareness. And when we think about it, we're always in one of those states of mind. We're always thinking, or we're engaged, or we're being critical, or we're running on autopilot. And for me, one of the biggest secrets that I've had in my life is at every moment's notice, being able to recognize where I am, bring awareness to it, pause, and then choose where I go. And most things I study and the things that I read, the best place to be is modulating between a thinking state of mind and an engaged state of mind, right? So modulating between internal and external, but always in that helpful realm. And then when we're down in the harmful area, in the critical, we need to identify it so we can pause it. And then when we're on autopilot, we need to be aware that we're on autopilot. And we might be like, I want to continue to be on autopilot while I, think about nothing and I just mow the lawn, and that's okay. But awareness is the key. And so today, as I want you to go throughout your day and throughout your week, I just want you to bring awareness to where you are. I want you to bring awareness to what you're doing, what state of mind you are in. Are you thinking? Are you engaged? Are you critical? Are you in autopilot? And awareness is going to be the key. And at every moment that you bring awareness, you then get to ask yourself, is this where I want to be? And if not, what am I focused on? What is the consistent thing that I can do to go somewhere else? And then how can I celebrate every win to get there? And I have a recommended book for you, whether you listen to it or whether you read it, I highly recommend it. And however you bring awareness to yourself, whether it's cold therapy, whether it's a run, whether it's a stretch, whether it's breath, whether it's music, anything that brings awareness to you, I want you to practice it. But I want you to go read or listen to the book, The Wedge by Scott Carney. The Wedge by Scott Carney. Listen to it, read it, put it into practice, because I want you to know that you are always able to shift, to bring awareness and to go. And the programming that's happening in the brain, the horror movies sometimes, all the worst case scenarios, is just preventing you from being present in a state of mind that you choose to be in. And I'm not perfect. I practice this hundreds of times a day. I'll go critical. I'll go autopilot. I'll go crazy critical. I'll take a breath. I have a pattern interrupt. I have a practice that puts me back in. And the key to winning this game is practicing as much as possible to keep moving forward. So have a beautiful Monday. I know this one went a little over. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next episode.